Hi, everybody. It's teZa of the Z Lord podcast. We're doing something different these days. For those of you who've been listening for years, we started in 2019 with Z Lord. Carter and I traveled and talked and went deep into our spirit wherever we went. And then when the pandemic came, we were on the couch and we went inward. And we did that for several years. And now another change. Life is changing constantly. And I am doing a solo, and I'm talking to you about what's happening with me, not about outside in the world, nothing about the politics or economics or whatever, but things that affect me and my connection to this life that I prefer to think of as a magical mystery tour. So I've been giving it a lot of thought since I made this decision to let Carter off the hook. For those of you who know Carter and have been following us as co-hosts, you know that he's a reluctant podcaster. He doesn't really like to share to the public. I mean, he will privately and one-on-one, and many of his friends have an intimate kind of discourse going on about all sorts of things. I mean, he helps a lot of people, but the idea of podcasting just never set right with him. And so he was such a good egg, and he's been a great mate and a great partner for me in many ways, and she'll continue so. But he's just not into being a podcaster, and I am, because as an artist, as a writer, as a person who cares about humanity and this planet, it's really important for me to contribute to the collective, whether it's unconscious or conscious. I want to contribute uplifting thoughts. I don't want to contribute to more divisiveness, more anger, more drama. I'm not into that. You're at the wrong place if that's what you're into. If you're looking to listen to someone who shares about what's most meaningful to me, who is a spiritual warrior. I consider myself a Christian Sufi soldier. I just believe that the divine is behind everything. The sacredness of life is tantamount to everything that I feel that's special about life. And yes, there are some things that are conflictual and dramatic and just based upon people's opinions these days, and everybody wants to be heard, and that's okay. But my contribution has to do with how to do the next right thing for me, not for anybody else. And so those of you who want to listen along, I guarantee you I will go into some deep private things that most people are uncomfortable about sharing. But I am taking this as an opportunity, having already been a podcaster for the last 5 years, to know that I can reveal to the public how I feel and still feel safe, that nobody's going to come and assassinate me for sharing an opinion that is not a mainstream opinion, that I'm allowed to have this beautiful connection with the divine, what I call the divine, the sacred place within all of us that I was lucky to remember from childhood and brought it into my adulthood because I really want to have that as my focus, the spiritual aspect of life. And I'm a very physical person. I'm a very health conscious person, but I am not one of these people who believes that politics is going to solve all of humanity's woes. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't buy it. I've never seen it happen. I don't think it's going to happen in the future, but I do believe that consciousness uplifting, to make ourselves open to higher perspectives of thinking and viewing what's going on, is going to be the solution. And how do we do that? By sharing that viewpoint. And maybe there's somebody else out there who's shaking their head saying, yeah, that's the way I feel. Well, that's great, because that's why I'm spending this time and really believing that it's my role, it's my duty to uplift others by sharing how I feel. And that doesn't really come from a place of ego. I've examined it. It's my calling. It always has been my calling. Those of you who know my work, my 5 books, my paintings, my years and years of blogging as Lord Flea, know that I am a God junkie. I mean, I just believe in joy. Wherever you can find that connection, that's your purpose. That's where you should be going. And if you aren't there, well, you can say, well, that's not my truth right now. I'm really angry, or I'm frustrated, or I'm scared, or uneasy, or discontented. And I certainly have felt that way too. And I realize that it's within my power to do something about that. If I feel out of sorts and disconnected and out, just not in balance, not in the flow, then I know that I have done something to get myself thrown off track, or I am not doing enough of the gratitude and the letting go of having to believe what other people tell me, or watching the news too much. I don't watch the news, by the way, I just read it. But sometimes I purposely read both sides of the coin. I like people coming out and with new podcasts that are bipartisan, like people who just want to talk about life and all the different sides of looking at it, rather than saying, oh yeah, I'm a liberal or I'm a conservative. I mean, to hell with all that. I'm a person and you're a person. Let's talk about our peopleness. There's a beautiful rainstorm going on right now. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but just the fact that the weather is dumping right now. It's dumping. It's like the way people are when they dump their opinions. They don't realize it's like taking a crap in the middle of my serene, beautiful temple called my life, when somebody's opinion, who especially if it's an opinion of somebody who's a believer that something is going to fix their discontent rather than their own ability to tap that place inside of them that's called their truth. They're looking for something outside. So they have these strong opinions that dump nastiness, nasty smells, nasty things to look at, nasty things to hear. It's like all of a sudden going to a site that happened to me the other day. It was a site about letting people know about my books, like a book club site on Facebook. And so I go there innocently, just having joined this page, and there's like the grossest porn I've ever seen in my life, just there. And I never wanted it, I never asked for it, and this has happened to everybody who is involved in modern life with screens and going to places where we're just trying to find something out about the next right thing to do. And all of a sudden we get slapped in the face by somebody being so rude to put up something ugly, whether it's with words or visual, which this was a visual thing. So obviously I got out of there. You hear the thunder? It just cracked. God is saying, you're right. There is so much annoying drama going on. Why can't we just be more peaceful? Well, that's not what being human is all about, is it? We can try our best, each individually, and affecting our tribe and affecting people who are around us with the peacefulness that we so desire and have decided to work for, because it doesn't come naturally. There are too many conflicting obstructions to peace in the human earthly experience. We have to work really hard to eliminate all the BS, all the drama, all the divisiveness. So that's what I am dedicating this next iteration of Z Lord to, without my co-host partner to have as a deflection or a fall guy or whatever we have been to each other, partners and crime, opening and sharing. When you're just by yourself and sharing with the world, there's a fear factor here. There's a fear factor big time. Like, oh, do I really want people to know how I feel inside? Yes, if you are like me, where you have always been obsessed with sharing the discoveries of consciousness and the magic of life and the joy of not being negative and self-destructive and listening to bad self-talk and all those things that one by one we as people discover about this thing called life. And it's all about choice. I choose to see this rainstorm that's happening outside my window as a beautiful gift right now. It's not emblematic of somebody, laying an opinion on me. It's also from another higher perspective. It's a nurturing gift of moisture that the earth needs, of clearing out old energy, which it does to the atmosphere, and bringing in those incredible ions, the charge that happens when there's thunder and lightning, and you just clear away the toxic crap of life when you have a beautiful storm. It's not a dumping. It's not a negative. See how I changed? See how I changed my perspective right there? I brought kind of an ugly thought in, and I changed it and lifted it up to a gift from nature, a gift from the rulers of this universe, whatever that is. I believe it is consciousness, and consciousness to me is sacred and divine, and therefore, yes, the word God is okay, good orderly direction. There's no being out there sitting on a cloud, but there is consciousness. There is the connectedness, the oneness of our ability to choose to focus on positive things. That even though people are going crazy right now in America with the change in the administration and many people are in a state of conflict, they feel disturbed. They don't know what's going on. Well, change is difficult. Change definitely means that we have to work hard at letting go of the old and being willing to let in the new and not having a fucking opinion about it. Just letting it go and letting it be. Because the opinion thing has already happened when people went to the polls and the vote, and that was last November. This is done. This change is done for the next 4 years. Let's let change have its chance to work, to operate, to flow, instead of having more drama, more opinions, more divisiveness. People are so addicted to drama. Why? I mean, really, why? When we can make the choice to accept what is happening and give it a chance, give change a chance. Make the choice to let change have an opportunity to work its magic. And let's just take our own personal life, my life. I'll talk about my life. When I decided to change, the biggest change was when I embraced sobriety 40 years ago. I walked in to a 12-step meeting and I said, I am going to die if I don't get help, and I need help, and I asked for help, and I got help, and my life started to change. And I believe that what we're going through in society, this modern day 2025 society, is the result of having gone through all the previous chances and choices and opportunities and events, one by one, Those things in the past have happened to bring us to this moment right here, right now, where history has brought us to the present moment. And we are in a sea change. We are in a vast sea change. And those people who are freaking out about the change, my only advice to anyone who's freaking out right now is to relax and to let change happen and to believe that consciousness that we all have, because we're all breathing, we're all alive, we all have consciousness, we are connected. Our oneness is connected through consciousness. If we can just focus on that and let the people who are involved with making change, let them do their job that they were asked to do. Nobody's like running in with guns around here and saying that they have to do it my way or the highway. And the people who are pointing fingers and saying Nazi this, a dictator that, come on, stop being childish, stop being just scaredy cats and relax and let change happen. Let change have an opportunity to be the new, present consciousness thing that is happening. We are not in charge of everything. We are only in charge of our own lives. I get to choose when I wake up in the morning, if I'm going to brush my teeth that day, what I'm going to have for breakfast, who I'm going to hang out with, what I do with my time, etc., etc. I can choose to have a positive attitude and listen to people who do not have a positive attitude without judgment, without responding unless they ask, unless they really want to know, like recently happened to me. I was with a friend who just couldn't believe that I was not as upset as she was. And she actually did ask me finally, after having gone through her list, her long list of atrocities going on, she asked me, well, how do you deal with all this terribleness? And because she asked, I could tell her that I have no answers. I am not in charge of all these huge things that are going on. My life is about spreading ideas, being useful in uplifting the consciousness, the collective consciousness, not just the unconsciousness, which I think every artist is involved in. We affect the consciousness and the unconsciousness. And collectively, the more public we are, or even if you're in your closet and never show your ideas to anybody, you are still affecting the collective evolution of humanity by dealing with creative energy. That is my job, I told my friend. My job is not to be the critic. My job is to not contribute to the drama, to not contribute to the hysteria. My job is to keep focused on the gift of life. Each breath is a gift. I may not have it in another minute or another day or another week. It's a gift to be alive. So what am I going to do with this gift? I can choose to bring as much positive energy as I can with each thought, with each action, with each interaction, with each word I speak, with each effort that I have in the collective of being a member of this beautiful, interconnected, blended human family, which is called planet Earth. We are all connected. Every single thing I think about affects everybody. It's people I don't even know. The landscape that I have not yet seen. Everything I allow in my consciousness and what I focus on counts. And so it's my job to watch my thoughts and clean them up and to make sure they're not toxic and to keep them as pure and filled with good energy as I can. Why? Because I care. I care about the survival of this planet, the survival of my fellow human beings. Notice I said beans, not beings. They're little beans. They're sprouted beans that we plant, both the people on this earth and our thoughts. And I truly believe that's what's happening right here, right now, is all good because it is happening. I am not going to live in a state of panic or confusion. Yes, I've had to sort it out in my mind by investigating and researching and listening to both sides of the coin and here and there. And, I'm a scientifically based metaphysician. I do my research. I pay attention to my dreams also. I had the most amazing dream last night. And I awoke and I thought, wow, this is something I need to think about. It was like one of those message type dreams that we talk about in the psychic world of believing that we are all one, that we're not just separate and everybody's out for their own life and we're just going to battle it out until we win. No, I think that paying attention to our dreams is mandatory, especially when we're going through a lot of change and a lot of turmoil. So basically, the dream was very symbolic. And my husband and I share our dreams. Carter and I talk about it a lot, especially when something not disturbing, but deep and profound has happened in a dream. And so as I was explaining to Carter, who always has very interesting insights about what the symbolism of a dream image could be, he basically agreed with me that the image, which was we're all, each one of us, an individual, but we are all connected to this bigger thing, which is existence. So the dream had to do with like my body. Like I could see my body as if I was outside of my body. And maybe I was dead because my body that I was looking at was motionless. It was just completely in a catatonic state, perhaps. But I didn't see it moving. It was more like a diagram, like something I was studying on a chart or a chalkboard. It was a PowerPoint of my life's energy. And so there was this human form, naked, but not sexual or sensual. It just like perfunctory humanness. But yet I saw on either side of this stillness, which I knew was me or being human, not just me, my individual, but my humanness, there was a blob on one side, almost like a pool of substance, what they call ectoplasm. These photographs where you see a spirit, somebody's captured it, like they call it ectoplasm when you see like a phantom. So next to the stillness was a blob, an ectoplasm blob, a puddle that was white. And on the other side of the stillness of my idea of humanness was this blob that was filled with dirty colors, like toxic, like as if it was filled with gray, green, and browns and things that you feel are yucky, that you want out of your system. These two blobs was so strong that I had to ask Carter about it. And when he offered his opinion, I thought, that's very interesting. He just came back into the house, so I have to close the door. He said, it's about purifying. It's about choosing to be in the state of joy. That's the white blob, choosing it. And the other blob is keeping yourself as disturbed and and unconnected as one possibly could be, which is really toxic. Those are the choices that we each have. And in the dream, it was beautifully portrayed for me. So I'm going to just offer that to all of you to know that we have this choice, each one of us, 1,000,000 times a day, with every choice that we make, with every decision that we make. Everything adds up. Every single thought counts. So make your thoughts count. Add to the spiral upward of our human evolution. Add to it. And don't whine. And don't be scared. And just let change have its chance. Om Namah Shivaya. Peace. Peace.